Hello YouTube, Robert here from Team Pop Tobacco, and today Thijs is going to tell us something about his gadgets and, well, gadgets in general, I think.
Yeah, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you my rank up gadget build, and later on I'm going to give you some tips on how to play it, play a different build or play it more budget for those of you that don't want to spend a whole lot of money on this. But first up, my own build. Well, first off, triple red gadget, triple yellow gadget, and triple green gadget. This is your basic search of the of your deck. If you don't have these in your first two turns, it's gonna get a real difficult. But they keep adding themselves, and you'll keep maintaining hand advantage, so you can slowly just get more card advantage than your opponent after a lot of time. After that, I played triple Kage. This card is just too good. Even if your gadgets get negated, you can just chain Kage, and you can still make your rank 4 plays and also make Gear Gigant X and King of Fair Imps to get more Kage. So with this card, you'll always have a rank 4 play, which is very important in this.
I don't think you can make Gear Giant X, but...
Oh yeah, sorry, that's my bad. After that, I play 2 Tin Goldfish. I was actually looking for a bit of space because I was having 42 cards, and Tin Goldfish is not only maxable but also available and finishable. So I play one less than most of, but it's still a good card. Don't get me wrong. It kickstarts your gadget plays and lets them become ranks for Xyz monsters, and also it can make Gear Gigant. But with that said, it's one of the easier cards to negate and therefore just ruin your entire turn.
And it's cool with Dweller.
Yeah, and it's a water monster, so if you make Dweller with it, it becomes 2200, which is, for Dwellers, just makes it extra good. I played 2 Traptrix Mammalio. This card is just too amazing. If you have this in your opening's hand, you're just guaranteed to have or a Bottomless Trap Hole, or Void Trap Hole, or a normal Trap Hole, whichever one you need against the deck that you're playing. It's cheap. If you chain it with Kage, you can also make King of Fair Imps and get more Kages. And that's just one of the best opening plays you can have in this deck. And its second effect, if you special summon it, for example with Tin Goldfish or with Redox, then it pops a spell trap, which is also very nice in this deck, because you don't want you want to get to the rank 4s, and a Bottomless just ruins your day, or warning, or whatever. I played a 1 Machina Gear Frame. It's gonna happen to you that you'll have more than one gadget on hand. That sucks, because multiple gadgets aren't really helping you in one way or another. Just one gadget is more than enough. And having Machina Fortress gives you a way out of that. You get a strong beat stick, which is really difficult to get rid of for the cost of losing one of your extra gadgets. Also, it can happen that you get Fortress before you get Gear Frame, or you get both of them on hand. You can just discard the Gear Frame to special summon the Fortress. So it's not a problem to play 1-on-1. It's actually been working pretty well for me. And lastly, for the monsters is Redox. All of his effects, except the Get a Dragon effect, of course, because I don't have one, are amazing in this deck. A gadget and this makes sure that you can special summon another gadget and make your rank 4 play. And in the grave, you can just banish 2 Earths, with, if you've been paying attention, is basically all of your monsters, to just put a wall, or in combination with Machina Fortress, you can make the rank 7. I play one rank 7, but I'll be getting to that later. Okay, onto the spells. I played triple double summon. Most gadget builds I've seen use chain summoning, which is a perfectly good card, don't get me wrong, but it's not really, it makes for a lot of explosive plays, but it's also a bit reliant on a number of cards in your hand. You have to have something chainable to make the chaining 2 before you can get to chain summoning. Double summon, however, is nearly almost a good card in this deck. You just have to have one gadget, or a gadget in combination of a Traptrix and another level 4, and double summon becomes another way to get to your rank 4 place. I like this card a little bit better because instead of chain summoning, you don't make the explosive plays, but you play control the entire duel. Just make one rank 4, or make, if you have a lot of Kakatsukagas in hand, you make 2 rank 4s with double summon in one turn, and just make what you need, get the outs that you want, and if you have the gadgets on hand, you'll maintain your card advantage, so you'll whittle your opponent down. Well, the reason why they call it rank up gadgets is because I play triple rank up magic limited variance force. Out of all the rank up magic cards, I believe this one is actually the best, especially in a rank 4 deck, because this deck basically makes nothing more than rank 4s, and you can get to any chaos. You can get to any chaos rank 5 from any rank 4s. There's no limitation to type, to attribute, or number, which is why this makes this the best card. If you have a King of Pharaoh Imps or a Gigant X, which you've already used its effect on, and the opponent has a spell trap, you'll be able to make C104, I believe, Umbral Horror Masquerade. Pop a spell trap, you have a 3000 beater, and all of the other rank up magic don't allow you to get to that play. So with the basic play you're going to be making is, if you don't have the budget build, you're going to have to go to Arc, and after that you're going to go to number C101, Signed on the Dark, which is actually just game right there most of the times. But rank up magic limited variance force is, especially if you don't have Big Eye or Dracossack or anything like that, is just the way to get to your boss mobs. So yeah. After that, just the basic spells. I'm playing triple Mystical Space Typhoon just because it's too good. It's gonna become even better. So just play 3 in every deck. And I also play 2 Forbidden Lands. You want your rank 4s to live. That's basically why you have this card. And also the attack minus it gives you to your opponent can sometimes decide the battle for you, because you have a lot of 2000 plus Xyz monsters on the field. If something with 3000 attacks you, you can use lands in your defensively. So yeah, it's just a good card, and just don't run 3, because yeah, you're gonna be using it once a duel. That's the most ideal. And after that, just 1 Book of Moon, because it's too good, and 1 Dark Hole, because it's also just way too good. And finally, the traps. I play 2 Finished Chain. I'm considering going to Breakthrough Skill after Primal Origin comes out, because continuous spell traps are just going to be destroyed way more easily. But for now, this is what I have, so this is what I play. 1 Compulse, 1 Sunwalling, 1 Torrential, and 1 Bottomless. These have gone to 1 for a reason. They're just too good. Even Compulse, I see some people not playing it, but it's still a really easy out and really easy way to get to an OTK, just to bounce the last monster and just go ahead. So yeah, I run all 4 of those. And lastly, you're playing Traptrix Remelio, so you need to be playing more than just the 1 Bottomless Trap Hole. So I play, just to get to the 1 that I need, I play 1 Void Trap Hole. Yeah, it's most of the times it's just not dead, and it's for Xyz plays like Tiger King and that. This is just the best card to have, not Bottomless and not Trap Hole, because the others don't negate the effect that they're going to be getting a tanky. So you want that one. Well, yeah, it's working for me. And lastly, just the 1 Trap Hole, especially for your budget players. This is not a bad card. You're going to be having like 200 of these, but it's still a good card, and it can just abrupt your opponent's play really easily. So yeah, that's the main deck. An extra deck, I play 1 Gigant X. This is not a pure machine build. It's got gadgets, but it's mostly to make rank 4, so you're not playing more than 1. You'll make the 1 just to get to mostly to your Tin Goldfish and your well, and your Machina gear frame, but that's about it. If you're really desperate, I've had a couple of times where I have had to add a gadget from my deck to my hand, but that's like happened to me twice in 200 duels, give or take. So yeah, this basic recruiter, but more than once not necessarily. However, King of the Pharaoh Imps, this is you're gonna be making this every duel most of the times, because getting to your Kage Tsukages is the way to get most of your rank 4 blows out. If you're able to protect it for one turn and detach the next turn for the second Kage Tsukage, then you've got rank 4 plays for like 4 or 5 turns after that, because yeah, your opponent is just getting out advantage right there. Only target is Kage Tsukage, so you're only running one, but it is a good card. So yeah, for the budget players, this is not for you, but I am running the number 101 Silent on Arc. This card is a 1 card out against almost anything, and it also has the best Chaos Xyz for this deck, but I'm going to be going to that later. Not much to explain, it's just a good card. Daigusto Emerald is also too good in this card. Especially late game, you have a lot of gadgets in your graveyard. You can get 3 back, or you can get throw back your Kage Tsukages, anything in your deck really, except for your Redux and your Fortress, and draw 1, and you have more rank 4 plays coming on. So yeah, good card. 1 number 50 Black Ship of Corn. It is a good out against also a lot of cards in sectors mostly, and it's a number, which is important, but I'll explain that later on. So yeah, you play the 1. You play 1 Maestro because it's good against a lot of back row or putting monsters in face-down position. You play the 1 Abyss Dweller because it's good and it's gonna get better when artifacts come out, because this card can stop an entire artifact deck if you know how to play it. But also against mermills and against monsters which activate by destroying them in battle. X-Sabers, you name it.
Fire Hand, Ice Hand.
Fire Hand and Ice Hand, oh yeah, that's actually a good one, because these cards are pretty good and Abyss Dweller stops them outright. So yeah, you play one of these in every rank 4 deck you have. I played the 1 Lavalval Chain mostly just to get Redux into the grave, but if you need a specific top deck, you can also get that to the top of your deck, but mostly for Redux. And
so for the budget players, the Lavalval Chain?
Yeah, oh yeah.
You don't really need it.
Okay, well, so yeah, Lavalval Chain and Daigusto Emerald, also Abyss Dweller. These are not things you'll have in your budget frame, but I'll be going to what you can exchange them with in a budget build later on. So yeah. Well, Gaga Cowboy just for it's just a good. It's versatile, and yeah, you play it. And I played the 1 number 85 Crazy Box for 2 reasons. One reason, it's a number again, so we have that, and the other reason is skill drain kills this deck. It's not even funny how hard that is. So I played the 1 Crazy Box because I just figured out that, oh wow, skill drain kills it. So yeah, and the last of rank 4s, I played the 1 Evil Storm Ouroboros. You can get a lot of level 4 monsters on the field pretty easily. Kage Tsukage, Tin Goldfish, Double Summon, you name it. So this card isn't out against almost anything, and it's got respectable 2750 attack. So yeah, if you can make it and it stays alive, it's actually a good card to go to. You won't be doing it a lot, but yeah, if you have it, if you can make it, it's good. Okay, now we'll be going to the Chaos monsters. Like I said before, Silent on the Arc has the best Chaos monster available. Number 101, C101, Silent on the Dark. I've never had a game where I've summoned this and didn't win. It's that good, because your opponent needs to be destroying it twice, and it's got 2800 attack, and it can steal one of your opponent's special monsters once per turn. And if they don't destroy it twice, it gets back. It comes back, and you can just steal one of their special monsters again, and then it's invincible once again because it gets destroyed. Arcs in the grave, returns. The life point is a bonus, but that's not really why you play it. So yeah, rank up Magic Limited Barrier Force to this one is most of the time just game. I played a new number C106 Giant Red Hand. This is the reason why you play numbers, because he gets this extra effect if one of his materials is a number monster. The effect reads that if your opponent activates an effect, doesn't even matter when, where, you can chain by detaching one Xyz material, and you can just negate all face-up cards on the field, including the card effect that chain upon it. So, for example, you summon this, the opponent chains Bottomless Trap Hole. You can chain the effect of Number Giant C106, and it negates your Bottomless Trap Hole. And it can also be used in your opponent's turn. So if you have this on the field, even better when you late game, or well anywhere actually, it just becomes the mass negator, like Murmel Abyss Gales, for example. It's just too good. I'm still gonna be testing it. I haven't played it a lot, but I'm liking what I see. It's a really good card. And lastly, the reason why you play Rank Up Magic Limited Variance Force is this card. This card really, it has an effect that needs a specific material, but the effect that doesn't need a specific material is also really good. If this gets summoned by Rank Up Magic Limited Variance Force, you pop a spell trap, and it's a 3000 beater. What's not to like? So yeah. So those were the Chaos Monsters. You only play 3 because you only have 3 limited variants for, so you won't be needing it anymore. And I play 1 rank 7, and I don't have Big Eye Dracosex, so for your budget players out there, this is the cheapest rank 7 you can have. If you have space for it, do it, but if you don't have rank 7, don't panic. You can just add another rank 4 or maybe another Chaos rank 4 or 5. But it's a very welcome thing to have, especially when you have a Redox in the grave and you'll add your Machina Fortress. This card is also really good, especially because you can chain your own spells and traps and get its effect off and destroy something in your opponent's turn. So yeah. In the side deck, well, this is my side deck, and there are a couple of cards in here that are expensive, so bear with me. First off, I played Double Swift Scarecrow. Anti-OTK is pretty important these days, and Swift Scarecrow can be added with Gear Gigant X, so it makes a perfect target for this deck. I played 1 Soul Drain. It doesn't affect you, and it affects a lot of other decks really hard, so yeah, that's why you play it. I play 1 Eradicate the Epidemic, especially because now I'm running Crazy Box for a Giant Red Hand, and this is a really easy way to destroy your opponent's deck, depending on what you play against, because yeah, so Dragon Rulers won't affect it much, but other decks like Spellbooks or just trap heavy decks just destroy it. So yeah, you run 1, the 1 you're allowed. Also have in my side deck Black Horn of Heaven. This is going in and out of my deck like a lot. It's a bit pricey, but it is a really good card because Xyz, Synchros, you name it, it's appearing a lot, and this just stops it without the chance to Forbidden Lance it or just saving it outright. I played 2 DNA Surgery. There are a couple of decks that which it really destroys, like Bujin. What else do we have? Spellbooks. They just outright die when you have a DNA Surgery and you call something other than the type they need. And also, if you make everything machine in your deck, you can get to Gear Gigant X that much faster. So yeah, your deck becomes a little bit better by it if you have it, and it can destroy your opponent's deck outright. I played 2 Debunk. This card is just too good. A lot of graveyard and hand effects just die, and you can OTK a lot easier with this. If you have it, you play it. If you don't, no worries. There are a lot of other options you can side deck with, but yeah, it's too good of a card. I played 2 Ghost Match just because I can make everything Earth in this deck and not be affected by it, but your opponent might get destroyed by the fact that they can't have more than 1 element. So yeah, that's why you play it. I played 2 Mind Crush because a lot of decks just keep adding and you can destroy whatever they add. Simple reason, doesn't need more explanation. And I played 2 Dust Tornadoes for Fire Fist, but also for general anti-spell traps, because you need to get your Xyz plays through. Okay, we've been talking about getting to another build, or making a budget build. There are a couple of other cards which you can play to make your deck more cheaper. But first off, as I said before, you can also play triple chain summoning instead of double summon to make your deck more explosive, but it becomes a bit less consistent if you do that. So yeah, beware. But if you're the kind of player that just wants to put everything on the field and attack, then chain summoning is more for you instead of double summon. For the budget build, there were a couple of Xyz monsters which are well, expensive, and you can exchange them with Diamond Direwolf, for example, because your Redux, your Fortress can still be special summoned afterwards if you just destroy the one card that just fucks everything up. So yeah, Direwolf is one option, and the other is Photon Parabolopative. This is the one card that always just didn't get in my extra deck, but it's still a very good card, and it lets you OTK pretty easily. So if you're playing chain summoning, then I advise you to play Photon Parabolopative as well, because it might be the difference between game and just not game. And lastly, the one expensive Xyz deck of a Xyz card that is in here is Silent Honor's Arc. It's a really expensive card, so if you don't have it, it's not so much of a problem. Instead, you could just remove the C101 and 101 and add number 39 Utopia and number C39 Utopia Ray V. These are still really good cards, and they combine especially well with the chain summoning build. And also, it's another number to play, so your C106 Giant Red Hand also becomes a little bit easier to make if you have already used the other Xyz monsters, for example. So yeah, that's also a possibility in this deck. Lastly, for side deck choice, if you don't have a couple of these cards that I just mentioned, you can also always play Light Imprisoning Mirrors. Might be a bit dependent on what everyone is playing in your neighborhood, but Bujins, Constellars, Agents, you name it, Light Imprisoning Mirror just stops that deck outright. And also Shadow Imprisoning Mirror for the same reason, but with other decks like Infernity and Insectors, for example. So yeah, those are also really good options. And lastly, you play Ghost Match because it's actually a bit better this time around. Rivalry of Warlords, not so much, but it's a cheap card, and also dependent on where you on who you're playing against, it can also destroy a lot of decks. I'm trying to think of a couple of examples, but
Evil Swarm.
Evil Swarm, for example, Constellar, well, you name it. If they play more than one type and they need the one type, they can just destroy a deck outright. So those are the options in the deck. YouTube, I'd like to thank you for listening to me ramble about gadgets. It's a cool deck to have. It makes a lot of rank 4 plays and has all the outs all the time. So thank you.